Hey good people, it's Angel here. If this is your first time seeing me, it's wonderful to meet you. I am brand coach Angel and I help entrepreneurs build brands and businesses that do good and feel good. In this video, I'm going to talk specifically to people like you who may be watching this video that feel like life is passing them by and they aren't achieving and doing and being all of the things that they want to be. This year is a big year for me, and this is specifically why I wanted to talk about this. I am turning 30 this year. Yes, it's crazy. I am turning 30. So this right now are my last few months I have in my 20s, and something about turning 30 is making me feel very reflective. And I'm spending a lot of time thinking about how I've spent my adulthood thus far, how I've spent my teenage years, and really thinking about how I want to spend my life moving forward. And to be honest with you, up until this point, I have really felt like I have been living my life on a treadmill. And I think this probably started for me around high school, where I really felt like I had to strive and achieve. And high school is where I really remember applying a lot of pressure to myself to be good, right? I remember my mother telling me maybe around my sophomore year of high school that we didn't have the money for me to attend college, which I knew we didn't. And so I knew that for me, scholarships were going to be very key to my ability to attend college. And so because I knew that, I took high school very seriously and I had fun and I enjoyed myself, but I took it very seriously again. So I was studying hard. I applied to a lot of programs. I applied for a lot of schools. When it was time to apply for college, I applied for a lot of scholarships. And thankfully, I was able to go to college on a scholarship. So I saw results from that. And so for me, that kind of propelled me into that type of action moving forward. And so when I got into college, I pushed myself. I pushed myself to get good grades. I pushed myself to be in a lot of student organizations. I pushed myself to get internships so I could keep up. I never wanted to feel like I was falling behind my other classmates, and I never wanted to feel like I wasn't going to be successful. And so I did that, right? And I did that, pushed myself into doing that again in graduate school, attending graduate school right after completing college. And so it was kind of around the time that I started working full time that I recognized that that same tenacity, right, wasn't necessarily getting me to the place that I wanted to be. I was in a job, but unlike working full-time in a career is different from college because you don't have the plan fully laid out for you. You know, in college, you have a scheme. That's what we would call it when I was in college. And this had all of your classes, all of the things that you had to do to graduate. And I feel like up until that point in high school and college, I kind of knew what my scheme was, what I needed to do to be able to get to the next step. But once I graduated and I was in the work world, I didn't realize that it was up to me to really determine what my scheme was. So I wasn't giving that power anymore to institutions that I was a student at, right? It was my responsibility to determine what success meant for me and what my scheme was. But it took me a long time to recognize that. And so I remember working towards something, but not really sure what it was. But I knew I felt like I should be more. I should be successful. I should be rich. I should be this. I should be that. But again, in the real world, once you're out of school, that scheme isn't there. Those accolades aren't really there. And it's up to you to determine that happiness. And so for a long time, I didn't know what that meant to me. And I really think that now at this space in my life, I am defining what that means for me. And now you may see me look to the side, guys. I have a few notes, but when I really look back on my experiences, especially in college, I'm like, dang, I really could have slowed down and relaxed and enjoyed life a little bit more. And that's one of the things I'm learning to do kind of in this later 20s, moving into this 30s, is recognizing that this whole treadmill thing, first of all, it doesn't even work for me. According to my human design, honestly, it always felt a little foreign. So that makes sense. My human design is projector. If you guys know anything about that, maybe I'll do some further videos. But I really recognized that it wasn't working for me. I wasn't happy. And I've spent more time than I would like to say or really admit that I have spent some time in my 20s being unhappy and being unsure and feeling really unconfident and insecure in myself because I wasn't really sure what I needed to do or felt that I should be doing more but didn't understand what that meant. I don't know, it's just a deep feeling of dissatisfaction is the best way that I can describe it. And it's a feeling of restlessness. And so into this 30s period, I'm really moving into a space of acceptance and peace and relaxation and self-love and self-care. And I really didn't realize until this year, quite honestly, how I spoke to myself and how much pressure I had put on myself to do all of these really conflicting things. I hadn't even really outlined again what success meant, but I kind of felt like I remember writing in my journal, I should be successful and I should have a really great schedule and be super disciplined, but I should also take a bunch of risks and live a very exciting life. Like I don't, it was so weird. I recognized in my own mind there was these paradoxes. I hadn't really settled. I just felt super unsettled for many years in my 20s. And so I'm really taking this space this year and moving into the 30s of determining what that success looks like, what that happiness looks like, and kind of going back to what I said earlier, changing the way that I talk to myself and the way that I view my life. I had been putting so much pressure on myself. I was very critical of the things that I did. In my mind, I hadn't even realized kind of how negative I had become. And so now I'm at a space where I'm very mindful of my thoughts, the things that I say, and I'm mindful of what other people say. And I'm like, wow, there's so much power in the things that we say and the things that we believe about who we are. And I think I've spent a lot of time in my 20s not really feeling strong and confident in who I am and what I have to offer. And I realized that while I was working and doing all of these things, where the real fruit was, right, where it is really believing in myself and working on that aspect, right, working on my internal thoughts, working on my internal beliefs about myself and about the world and about what is possible in general. So turning 30 has also really changed my orientation to time. And we live in a society now where we're hearing all the time that people, a lot of the way success is defined is based on time. So your ability to achieve something at a particular age, your ability to acquire something within a particular short amount of years. And that is what we often deem as success. And so honestly, for most people, that's not the case, right? There are some people who are able to acquire a set of skills and certain accomplishments within a short period of time, but oftentimes that person may have been working longer than it appears, right? Because what do they say? Every overnight success takes 10 years. But I know for me personally, I had really adopted that idea of time. So by 30, I should be this, I should be that, I should have this together. Whatever it was, right? These ideas and these standards that I held myself to. But really, as I move into 30, I realize time is perceptive, right? Time is an illusion. Time is what we make it. And so one of the ways that I'm moving through my life now is actually saying to myself, you have enough time to do the things that you want to do. There are so many instances when I look back in my life where I've rushed. And I really think back to if I had taken my time, what could things have been? And it's not in a way that is regretful. It's just a way that is mindful and thoughtful, right? So I can think back to college and really having a lot of fear. I put a lot of pressure on myself in college to get a really cool internship every summer. Because in my mind, I felt like if I'm not interning at a company and getting work experience over the summer, then I'm not going to be able to have a cool job after I graduate. That was how I thought. So I applied a lot of pressure to myself. And I remember there being particular years while I was in college where we were creeping up on the end of the school year and I didn't have something lined up for the summer. And I would like beat myself up about it. Like, oh my God, everyone else has an internship this summer. I don't. What's the deal? In reality, when I look back, I'm like, hey girl, you could have gotten a little job, a little retail job for the summer. It would have been cool. Or you could have did this. You could have figured something out. And so a lot of times I would just settle for the first thing that came along because I was so afraid another opportunity would not, that I would just jump on the first thing. And the first thing wasn't always the best thing. Even when I moved here to Atlanta, I was transitioning from a fellowship that I did called the Bourne Fellowship, which I am going to be uploading some videos about soon. I jumped on that work opportunity here in Atlanta, the first one that came along, the first offer. Why? Because I was afraid that if I didn't hurry up and move and hurry up and start my life, that opportunities would pass me by, almost like I would lose my mojo or something. But I don't think that that opportunity was necessarily the best I could have gotten, right? It was just the first one that came along. I wasn't in a space where I had the patience and the confidence in myself to wait it out, to see what the best could be. And now I see myself so differently. I'm doing a video. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it before this one, but I'm doing a video where I'm talking about the fact that I am going to be re-entering the workforce. And I explain why that is. And I've done a lot of content on here about transitioning from entrepreneurship to full-time work and all of that. So I'm going to be sharing exactly why I am transitioning back into work. But it's interesting, my attitude about it now is like, I want the best offer possible. I want the best situation for myself possible. And a few years ago, when I was entering into the workforce, that was totally not my thought process. And I didn't have that level of patience or confidence that, hey, I can maintain my life until the right opportunity comes along and I'm not going to settle. Woo! That's a lot right there, right? And I think just speaking to that point, this idea that things are going to run out or there's only a ideal time frame to do something, and once that passes by, it's over. And again, I'm recognizing that that's all something that I made up, right? Or that I allowed society to inject into my mind. That is not true. There is plenty of time to do the things that I want to do, whether it's sitting down to eat a meal as opposed to eating it in the car while I'm driving somewhere, because that's often what I do. Whether it's getting married, having children, accomplishing some of the things I want to accomplish, experiencing some of the things I want to experience. Life doesn't stop until you're no longer living. So as long as you are healthy and you are well, which I am blessed to be, which many of you watching are blessed to be, we have that opportunity to experience those things. There is enough. Contrary to popular belief, there is enough money, there is enough food, there is enough housing, there is enough success available, there's enough love available, there is enough that is available for me, for you, right? And I'm realizing now that there are two types of people. There are people who are afraid and believe that there isn't enough, and that has been me. And there are people who know that the universe is abundant and that there's enough for all of us, and that when that time comes, it will be things that we want and that we need will be available to us. And I'm starting to feel comfort and peace in that, and just exhaling, like, it's gonna be all right, girl. Just do what you can each and every day to get to where you want to be. I'm just looking over at my notes because I want to make sure I'm touching on everything I want to say. Also around my feelings and thoughts around success are different. I think for a long time I felt like to be successful, there was something kind of crazy that you had to do. Like you had to make the one right move. And like this one right move was going to result in your success. And while there can be specific moves that lead to like a very certain game changer for certain people, like there are such things as game changers, most success just comes from consistency each and every day. And so slowing down and saying the big goals that I want to accomplish, if I can do something towards them each and every day, that is what's going to get me there. And feeling more comfortable in the process and enjoying the process of getting there and feeling a little bit more detached from the results. For so long, up until really this year, I have felt so attached to results. It's like kind of, if I don't see the accomplishment that I want at the end, if I don't see the bank balance that I want at the end, if I don't see whatever it is that I want at the end of the journey, I'm not pleased with the entire journey. But now I'm at a place where I'm like, I'm going to enjoy the journey. The journey can be long, and so I'm going to find joy in that. And I have an intention for the end, but I am open to the goodness and the possibility that is for me at the end. And that is beautiful, right? That feels really good. It makes me feel more hopeful and positive about myself and my life. And it makes me feel more open to creating and doing things because I'm going to enjoy the process of it. And if it's something that I cannot truly enjoy the process of doing, then I really have to think about if that's something worth me investing my time into in the first place. Okay, if it's going to be a miserable journey, I probably don't need to do it, right? I'm not looking to have a miserable life. And so I really got that message from Iyanla Vanzant, and she recently walked away, or I'm not exactly sure what happened, but of course she had the Fix My Life show on OWN that she's no longer going to be doing. But I remember seeing an interview with her maybe last year, and the interviewer asked her, how do you feel when you are setting up this process for people and they come in? And if you've ever watched this show, sometimes it goes well and people are very receptive to what Iyanla is trying to do with them, helping them to fix their life. And sometimes they are not having it. They're like, oh no, they cuss her out, act a fool. It goes all the way left. And I remember seeing some episodes where it has gone left, where I'm like, yo, if I was set, if I had put all that time and really good intention in helping someone and they reacted that way, I don't know how I would respond. Like, that would really shake me. And one of the things that she said was, I am not attached to the outcome. I believe in the process. I know I have good intentions toward the process, but I am not responsible for how it ends in the end, right, for that person. And I think, especially for me being in the space of coaching, that is a great attitude to have. But right now, I'm actually starting to apply it to my life in general, right? To say, I'm committed to this process of learning, of growing, and whatever happens at the end is what happens at the end. So therefore, even if I don't get the result that I exactly wanted, I can feel good and feel joy about the fact that I went through this, I did this, I accomplished this, whatever it may be. I may have overcome and conquered certain personal limiting beliefs that I had, and that's a victory in itself. So being able to look at things in that manner, I think, is so, so very important. And let me see if there's anything else I want to say about that. Another point I have here is me believing that life starts when? Life starts when you get married. Life starts when your business takes off. Life starts when you get this accolade or whatever it may be. Life starts when you make this move. And life is happening right now. Like, I think I've been living my life for a bit, like subconsciously living my life that way for a long time, where it's like, okay, when this happens, then life is going to start. And that's like when real life starts. Like, today is not even happening. Like, no, life is happening right now. You have the ability to start and do the things that, or start making steps to at least do the things that you want to do right now. Like, life is happening right now. And so it's making me feel, I think at this point in my life, I have felt so much more present and grounded in my reality of my life. And I'm so much more involved and invested into what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, because I recognize that life is happening right now. This is it, right? I am living. This is it. Life has started. And so that has opened up a lot of opportunities for me just in the everyday, right? It's not about, a lot of these changes I'm speaking about are not because there are drastic changes to my external circumstances or my environment, but because there's a lot of changes to my internal environment. And so the way that I'm able to view the things that are happening around me are so different. And there's so much more I can say about that, but I feel like I've touched on all my points. I was looking through my notes over here. I've touched on a lot of the things that I wanted to say, but just for the people who are watching this video, whatever age you are, some of you watching this may be under the age of 30 or feeling that vibe. A lot of times in the late 20s, it just feels like, oh, what's happening with life? Feeling like there's a rush, you got to hurry up and do things. I hope that what I'm saying here is helpful to you. I definitely would love to do more videos and talk more about my self-love journey, the things that I'm doing to really build my self-confidence and self-esteem, because even as someone who on the outside appears very accomplished and appears like, you got things together, you got it going on, there's insecurities that I have, that we all have, and there's certain things that can drive us to be a high performing person that aren't healthy. And so that I hope that what I'm saying in this video helps you, gives you some things to think about. It's not a very tactful video in the sense where I'm like, this is what you can do if you want to be good at this or you want to be successful at that. It's more of a musing about life. And so I really want to encourage you, just if I could leave some parting words of encouragement to say to you that you have something special to give, right? You're not here by accident, and life is happening now. Each day, each moment, you have the opportunity to experience, to share with other people, to experience other people. And I hope that you can really see the beauty and the wonder that is within yourself and explore that and honor that. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video. It feels really good to talk about this, to share some of the things that have been on my mind the past few months. And if you are someone who is interested in this type of content and having more of these conversations, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I am working on being more consistent in content and would love to have more people that are part of this community telling me what you enjoy and what you like from me. Go ahead and comment below, share what your thoughts are about this, share if you would like more videos about this topic. I can definitely do so. And shoot me an email. I also have my email down in the description box if you're interested in coaching and learning how to build a feel good, do good brand. So again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Peace out.